Welcome back, everybody. This is Brother Mutant here. Today we're going to make a custom build for someone who specifically asked for it. For those that are interested, this is not a solo build, but you can definitely have fun as a team leader with it. You're going to be taking 12 levels of Eldritch Archer eventually. You'll be taking 7 levels of Eldritch Knight as soon as possible. Before any of that really goes in, you're going to be taking 1 level of Vivisectionist to get yourself the mutagen as well as some sneak attack damage. And let's get into it, shall we? So, for your build, buddy, this is what I basically decided to do without knowing anything about what they've done, knowing your general requirements, and knowing the fact that we said specifically you're going to play an elf for some spell pen potential, the fact that it gives you high dexterity and high intelligence, which are 2 things that you need for this build anyway, since you're going to be a bow person. We figured what the hell, elf made sense. Now, could you go human? Sure. Could you go human and grab spell pen and basically be the same as an elf? No, but you could be pretty damn close. This character actually started off with, let's actually get back here, show you my actual stats before we go into actually making the character. We started off 13 strength, 18 dex, 10 con. We brought it up from 8 because of the elf penalty of -2. So we brought it up to normal, 18 for intelligence, 10 wisdom, 10 charisma. Now I'm going to suggest that you do 1 point in strength, 2 in dexterity, and 2 in intelligence. I'm not suggesting that order, but I would definitely start off with strength because remember, you're going to be using a composite bow, and a +2 to your strength will be +2 to your damage instead of +1. Not amazing, but it does help quite a bit. Plus your carrying capacity goes up, always good things. You're going to be wearing armor. Why be an armor wearing idiot that has a strength of 7? That just makes no sense to me. So this seemed to be a decent, well-rounded build. The 20 for dex could be moved to 22. I have done that as well, left the intelligence at 18 and stopped. It's more than enough to do the spells you're going to need, but because you're getting 2 spell books, 1 for Vivisectionist and 1 for your Eldritch Archer part of your build, I thought you'd probably want as many first level spells as possible, so they'll get that you needed this to be 20, not 18. Now yes, you can get this to 20 a variety of ways. You can wear a tiara of intelligence +2 or more, and then again that would be applicable. As long as you leave it on all the time, you will get those extra slots. But I wanted to make sure it's baked into the character, so to speak. Plus, I do like the extra skills that you're going to get. Again, you're not going to be soloing, but because of your dips and Vivisectionist / Eldritch Knight, you're going to actually have trickery, which is going to be really useful for you to get some cheap XP early on, even with a party with you. So shut off XP share so that you're not giving XP to people that are not in the party. Shut off the XP share so that the person doing the skill checks get the XP, and at least 1 or 2 of those skill checks are going to be you, and therefore you're going to get a lot of XP above everyone else on the team. So you should always be in the lead for levels. When you're level 3, they're level 2. When you're level 5, they're level 4. That'll be extremely useful, I think, and I think you'd enjoy that. Now with that, we started off with Eldritch Archer for the very first thing. As far as spell picks are concerned, it does not matter. With the exception of this. If you know you're not going to get that scroll, or you can't find that scroll, because you can scribe any of the spells that you have access to in this in your 2 books into your books. So that's why I say it doesn't matter. But if you really want Fireball and you don't want to wait until a scroll drops for that, when Fireball opens up, take it. I mean, that's obvious stuff here. But by and large, I'm not going to dwell on what spells I'm picking. No, for sure I'm getting buffs. No, for sure I'm getting ray spells, because that's what you channel through your bow. Other than that, let's get into it. After 2nd level, I seriously suggest you go right into your Alchemist Vivisectionist level. That mutagen is gold. That's money in the bank. 10 minutes of buff. Obviously for dex, doesn't have to be. Could be for strength, for some extra oomph for your arrows. But you also get some armor besides. Of course, you get sneak attack damage with the reason you're doing it, I'm assuming. And then again, a really nice 1d6 of extra damage. Opens up Accomplished Sneak Attacker, which we'll get not at level 3, but we'll probably pull up at level 5, and you'll see why here in a minute. So we get our Vivisectionist. Notice we get Perception. Persuasion's always going to be important, but notice that we have Trickery finally opened up. We're going to constantly invest in Trickery and Perception. And then from there, I suggest Persuasion all the time, and maybe enough Use Magic Device / Arcana that be considered yourself useful. Now, you could pick any of these other ones, World, Nature, that you have a check in, even Athletics if you wanted to make those checks. However, you're not going to have enough skill points to do anything other than making these guys maximum: Perception, Persuasion, Trickery, and one other one, like Athletics or Arcana, or you get the idea. But note that as an elf, we actually get a bonus, thanks to Elven Magic, to Knowledge Arcana, a +2. So we already got a bonus in that direction, plus we already have intelligence that we're going to push through the roof, so it made sense that it'd be either Arcana or World, I'm going to go with Arcana. You can do like I do where you unlock everything if you want. I don't think that's something you'd want to do on this. Again, it's not a solo build. You'll have someone else on the team that does these other checks for you. But you should be an expert of at least a couple of things in my opinion, like Trickery and Arcana, and that's what we're really going to kind of focus on. Again, spells don't matter, but I would definitely grab the ones that are unique to you and ones that you know for sure you're going to want. This is the only real reason, in my opinion, to take Alchemist spells, True Strike, every day, all day, every day of the damn week. You could early on, I suppose, slot something like Cure Light Wounds to make sure you have a cheap heal available to res a teammate. You're never going to buff with any of these spells. Fire Belly being the only other exception to the rule here. And the reason for that is, while it only lasts a minute, that's DR5 fire resistance there, buddy. And there's going to be guys that cast a spell on themselves and set your team on fire, doing 1d4 points of cone damage. Now, if that's you, getting set on fire, if you cast this on yourself for 1 minute of that fight, you're immune to his attack. Seems pretty decent. It's not amazing, but again, it's free. So again, feel free to slot those up early on, later on, and I'd say True Strike every day of the week. But up to you. Of course, our mutagen will use Dexterity more likely than not. All are decent. If you need extra hit points or fortitude saves, feel free to grab Con. Use the strength one when you want to do that extra little for damage. But you are never going to be, in my opinion, a melee attacker. And that's the way I'm taking the build. You can do it any way you'd like, but that's how I'm taking it. I'm going to say you're going to have a bow in your hand from start to finish, and it's always going to be you with your bow. Notice you get your ranged spell strike now at level 3. So again, now we can start shooting those cantrips through your bow. So Acid Splash, Ray of Frost, Disrupt Undead, obviously against Undead, will be extremely useful for you. I'm never going to invest in mobility, and again, that's probably because you're going to be standing in the back ranks as the commander-in-chief of the party. You're going to stand back there, delegate authority, and shoot bad guys that come across your team. That's the way I'm going to play this character. From here, Arcana goes up a little more, and then use Magic Device, and mostly Arcana. We could get Accomplished Sneak Attacker, but you'll see at level 1 we got Point Blank Shot. I figured you're going to be doing not only ray spells, but also your bow. So Point Blank Shot and, of course, Precise Shot's going to matter, especially since you're going to have a team, a front line, at least of 1 or more characters, that's going to allow you to do that sneak attack damage because they're going to engage them, and now you can start doing extra damage per shot. So Precise Shot's going to be useful. We'll get Accomplished Sneak Attacker, though, at the next available pick, just so we're clear. Now we're going to take this to 7 levels worth of Eldritch Archer. And the reason for that is going to be, once we do that, that'll be enough for us to literally unlock our Eldritch Knight. Let me show you that. So here's your Eldritch Knight. Notice that all you really need to do is be able to cast now 3rd level spells. We already have the martial weapons proficiency, and from there, as soon as you can get it, would be 8th level. Why? Because level 7 would be 3rd level spells, but you had that 1 level dip. Vivisectionist kind of halting things a little bit. If you wanted to push it up sooner, do Eldritch Archer for 7 levels, then Eldritch Knight, and whenever you feel like picking up Vivisectionist, feel free to do so. But I say that this lame amount of sneak attack damage, even with us getting Accomplished Sneak Attacker here soon, that's only 1d6 going now to 2d6. That's not really going to matter at the end of the game. It's going to matter more at the beginning. That's why I went Vivisectionist early. Up to you, though. But we're going to take it, like I said, Magus for 7 levels. Get that strength up to get a nice little damage bump. Carry some more, all that good jazz. And now I'm actually, instead of going Dexterity, I'm going to invest in Intelligence for 2 points. And then the last 2 points will be in Dexterity. But again, you can do as you see fit. I just like having the skill points up front. From here, your Magus Arcana, we should note that you're only going 13 levels, right? Or, sorry, 12 levels. So you'll get all the way up to here, which means you will not get Bane Weapon. You won't get this extra other one as well. You also will only be caster level 18, which means you will not get any free spells at level 19 or 20. So that's kind of a drag. But you will have really decent base attack bonus of 16 by the end of your build. Another reason why which is why they probably went Eldritch Knight for 7 levels, in case you're wondering. And then you would be a higher level fighter. By level 20, you'll be like fighter level 13, I want to say. It's not going to be amazing, but again, there's some feats that open up at like 12 that might be worth picking. I'm going to suggest that you grab things like Extend Magic still. You could do Wand Wielder. I don't know that it works with a bow, but I would assume it would, because otherwise why would they give it to us? But again, you could do that, Wand Mastery, but you don't have a high enough intelligence to really push that DC check. So I'm shying away from them. Reach magic could be a thing, but know that when you shoot your raise spells through your bow, they get the range of your bow. So if they're only supposed to be 30 feet like your cantrips, our bow is 50 feet, they'll shoot 50 feet, and I can prove that to you. So that's a thing. I think it actually shrinks it too, so if it can shoot farther than 50 feet normally, and your bow only shoots 50 feet, then again, it goes back down to 50. Kind of a drag, but whatever, it makes sense. It's shooting the damage through the arrow. The arrow can only go 50 feet, that's as far as the arrow is going to go. So that's fine. Just think of the fact that acid arrow is not going to go as far as normal when you shoot it through your bow, just so we're clear. I'm going to grab an arcane accuracy, because even though we're going to get prescient attack, this one's still useful for when you fight those guys that have armor, right? From here, again, don't worry about what you're grabbing, just grab what makes sense to you. Obviously, stuff that's teammate friendly, that doesn't require a lot of saving throws, so DC checks are going to be not the best for you. And of course, anything that has no spell resistance will be amazing for you. But you do have spell pen +2 right now, so definitely worth still getting stuff that has spell resistance. Grab those. Use magic device, and I should point out that since you have a level of Vivisectionist, any spell that a Vivisectionist could cast, you can cast from scroll form. Doesn't matter that you don't have a high use magic device. You just get access to it because of your training in Alchemist, even if it's one level dip. So a high level Alchemist spell, if it comes across in scroll form, you have access to it and you can cast it immediately. That's really nice. Don't scribe it into your book, because your book will only go to level 1 anyway. So you're wasting those spells. Just keep them in scroll form. The other spells, the one you get for Eldritch Archer, obviously scribe them as soon as possible. If they work for both, again, scribe them as soon as possible. It doesn't matter that the Vivisectionist won't be able to use it, your Eldritch Archer build will. So that's fine. Here we're grabbing the Accomplished Sneak Attacker, because again, I maintain that early damage, cheap damage, is easy damage for fighting. You'll be the only thief on the party, probably up until this point. So therefore, you're the only one really doing sneak attack damage. Really, really helpful for you in the campaign. You'll get a sneaker that's better than you, sure, but until he or she joins you, you really don't have any other alternative. And this is really nice for you to stand back and just pepper bad guys with all kinds of arrows that does damage. You'll love it. From here, grab your Blur, Scorching Ray, Spell Recall, something that I don't normally talk about because I always do Eldritch Archer, or sorry, Eldritch Scion. Any of the other Magi have Spell Recall, the ability to literally turn one of their arcane pool points into a spell. The way it normally works, like you're seeing here, if you read the tooltip, it literally says that basically the level of the spell is basically how many points you burn up. So if I need a 6th level spell back, I'm burning up 6 pool points. Now that's a big ooch. However, you'll get the improved version, which cuts that number in half. Minimum still of 1, so a level 1 or level 2 spell would still burn 1 point. But again, if you need that spell versus dying, I suppose this is an option. I'm not a big fan of it. I almost always forget that they're there, but again, this is definitely something that you want to pay attention to. Okay, now, it dawned on me, since you're going to be a bowman, and it's always going to be your thing, that you should probably get weapon focus in that bow, right? So unless you're doing something like weird like crossbows, which you could do, light crossbow or heavy crossbow, obviously heavy would make more sense. I'm suggesting you go longbow, and it works for not only longbow but composite longbow as well. So it's twofer, so to speak. You're going to have definitely a composite bow as soon as possible because your strength at least warrants it. Extra damage is extra damage, even if it is only 2 points. And you're going to have gear that pushes that above that. So again, you'll do more damage with every swing. But we're actually going to take this build and do that point-blank master build that we've done in the past. However, instead of it being with beam attacks, it's going to be with bow attacks, as intended, I'm assuming, for most players of this game. Any kind of ranged weapon, with the exception of your ranged spells, should be point-blank masters of. If you're going to be a ranged anything, you should be a point-blank master of it. That way, if they get in melee range, even with your armor, and even with your team helping you out, even with your spells buffing you up, you still want to be able to shoot them without having to take attacks of opportunity, and that's what we're going to avoid. So, we need weapon focus, we need weapon specialization, and we will need point-blank master for that bow. I'm going to grab Acid Arrow because obviously, and I'll grab Web Spell. The reason I'm grabbing, again, it doesn't matter because you're going to scribe all these things. The reason I'm grabbing Web Spell is because of this. Even if you lock up your team, and you lock up the bad guys, so what? You're outside of the weapon, you're shooting all the bad guys. They will thank you for it. So even if it's not teammate friendly, still extremely useful. Keep going. Now, we can get things like blind fight. Don't forget, arcane strike is going to be a thing. Rapid shot, deadly aim, finally make an appearance because you went longbow for a focus. Then they're like, oh, you want to be a bowman, huh? You could have gotten this last round, by the way. But I figured, well, why take a penalty, even though you get an extra attack? Why take a penalty when we could have got a plus? So that's the reason we went and grabbed ourselves a weapon focused longbow. So now a good time for rapid shot, in my opinion, and it'll open itself up for mini shot. Again, we still don't have enough fighter level, which we none, to get weapon specialization, which we need for point blank master. So until that time, we kind of get to pick all our normal bow stuff. From here, you can still enchant your weapon, your bow. More on that later, because there's one actually that definitely does not work. It really kind of sucks for you. And grab mirror image and glitter dust. Why not? Last Magus level for the time being. And again, I'm going to invest in intelligence now until it gets to 20, and then we'll go back to dexterity. Okay, level 3 spells. You're probably missing out on things like fireball, some AoE damage. Even if it's coming from other teammates, feel free to grab it. Note, by the way, that you can pick spells of a lower level. If you really wanted to get that last level 1 spell that you didn't ever find a scroll for, you can take a burn a pick, so to speak, on going backwards. I'm not a big fan of it, so I normally shut it off, but again, there's nothing wrong with that. I suggest you get stuff that helps you and your team. Again, you'll be a buffer, teammate buffer. Displacement works on not just you, but a teammate, for instance. Haste, of course, is AoE friendly for you and your team, so I can see that being useful too, and more arrow shots, the better. You're wearing medium armor now, and now we're finally going into Eldritch Knight. Note that we don't get any spell progression at the first level. We will get 2 free feats. These are basically fighter level type feats. And every level of Eldritch Knight counts as a fighter level. So we're getting 7, so by the time you're done with it, you will get 7 levels of fighter. You will get more fighter levels once you get this unlocked from your Magus side of things. And they do stack. So that's why I say you'll get 7 from here, 6 eventually from here. So that'll be a 13 fighter by the time you're done with your build, as far as the game is concerned, for only the purposes of getting feats. Notice that your base attack bonus is going to go up every level that you're an Eldritch Knight. Again, the reason they went 7 levels, because now with this and that level 1 dip of Vivisectionist, you can still get to a BAB of 16. That's an extra attack around compared to a true Magus, which normally gets only 3. So you get 4. Plus you'll get an extra one thanks to rapid shot, so that's 5. Then you'll get another one thanks to many shot. That's 6 arrows around that you're zipping into somebody, and that's before we do things like speed bow or haste spell or anything else that would increase the number of attacks around. So again, really, really useful. For our first feat, I'm going to pick mini shot. That's the one that literally, the very first arrow that you knock and shoot, if it hits the target, it hits 2 arrows without rolling twice. It just rolls once, hits, then you do 2 arrows worth of damage, where it will roll the damage twice, but it's arrow, arrow, boom, boom, really nice. And again, really nice damage when you start bumping your weapon up with things like flame arrows and stuff like that. Notice here, we get a extra feat. So this was 1 feat here, and then we got another feat. Deadly aim is a nice pick. I'm not going to necessarily pick that yet, because I'm actually going to do something a little weird. We're going to do dazzling display, not because you're going to use it, but it unlocks a feat. It unlocks shattered defenses, and while I'm not suggesting a corning and smash build for this guy, obviously, because you don't have power attack, I am going to suggest that you get shattered defenses, because everybody that's scared, whether it's scared from you or scared from your team, is going to be flat-footed to your arrows for that entire round, and that's amazing for you. So again, something that you want to consider. Not necessarily the best option, but it's the way I'm taking it. Now, keep going to Eldritch Knight. scroll down here now. We could have gotten it last time, but we're going to grab it now. Shatter defenses, and again, just to re-emphasize, any shaken, frightened, or panicked opponent hit by you this round is flat-footed. And again, doesn't say anything about you have to be the one that does it. So literally, Cornigan Smash guys set it up for themselves. Let someone else in your team set that up for you. Let them scare them with a power, a spell, an ability. And then shaken, frightened, or panicked opponents, especially when the ones that are running away, most of the fighter types are going to hate that because they have to chase him down with their melee weapon. You are not. You're just going to turn, shoot, 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 and they're always flat-footed. Amazing sneak attack damage for you. Really, really nice, really easy to set up with a team. Suggest slow because it's teammate friendly. Dispel magic because why the hell not? More Eldritch Knight fun. Now that's all the intelligence I'm going to give your character. Now look how many skill points you got. Watch this. Full Arcana, Trickery, Perception, and Persuasion, and they always will be. And we're going to just dump the rest into Use Magic Device. Any extra points that are not going to be dumped into these four, I would put into Use Magic Device just to put it a little high. If you wanted to do Athletics again, you can. Stealth, again, it's not the worst option ever, but you don't have really skill in most of those things. Now you can again pick whatever you want, and you know which ones I'm going to pick. Don't forget when you slot this, because unlike me who has spontaneous casting, you have to slot your spells. Make sure to grab 2-dimension doors when you do that, because usually you want to teleport in and teleport out somewhere. If that's not your deal, feel free to grab this one slotted dimension door. When you see that wizard that's in the back row, teleport to his ass. Remember, you're going to have point blank master. You can shoot him at dead point blank range for extra attack bonus and extra damage, and he'll hate you for it. Definitely useful. Going Eldritch Knight. Now, weapon specialization is available. Remember, you needed 4 levels of fighter to get this. If you hover over it, you'll see that. Now you have that because you're technically a 5th level fighter as far as the game is concerned. So we can pick this up for longbow. That's another +2 to your damage with every arrow shot. Extremely useful. Now notice, because again, you're level 5 Eldritch Knight, you get another combat feat. Notice what else then we can pick up. Point blank master, longbow. Really, really nice for you. And that's at level 13 you have that ability now. Fully armored up with medium armor and a decent dexterity boost besides, and you're shooting them at point blank range as many times as possible. Extremely fun. I'm going to grab Stone Skin, Greater Invis, because again, you can turn yourself invisible and get sneak attack damage that way. More levels of Eldritch Knight coming. Now I will make an argument for going 8 levels of Eldritch Knight, and I'll explain why. You're not going to, but I'm going to show it to you just in case it's something you're interested in. But we'll worry about that when we get there. Why not get Controlled Fireball? Sure, help your teammates. Okay, this is your last level of Eldritch Knight. Now, I suggest 8 as a possibility, which means for your Eldritch Archer, you're not going 12, you're going 11. Why? Because you would literally miss out on this. That's a bad idea, you'd think. You're still getting all this other stuff, and again, improved spell recall is nice. You still get this feat, and this is the reason for it. If this is the last level you take, level 20, you're taking Eldritch Archer level 11, you get a feat pick at level 20. Remember when I said your BAB was going to be 16? There's a feat that opens up at 16 BAB that no one else can get. Not even a true magus can get this at level 20. You can because of this weird ass build that we're doing. So if you do that, you can get the feat, and the feat is called Greater Vital Strike. There it is. You need to do that, you need Vital Strike, you would need Improved Vital Strike as another feat, and then the third feat, the final feat, would be Greater Vital Strike, which you can unlock here, and only here. This is the only way I can think of doing it. So go 11 here, do 8 of this, 1 Vivisectionist, and then 11 eventually of Eldritch Archer. And the 11th level of Eldritch Archer has to be the last thing you pick, the last level, 20. Now is it worth it? I can't say it is. I never particularly liked Vital Strike in the first place, let alone Improved or Greater. If anyone can weigh in on whether it's awesome or not, feel free. What it basically does for you is this. You get to shoot once, only once in that round, and that's it. But it does 4 times the damage of the weapon. Just the weapon, not your buffs, not your strength, not your deadly aim, not any of that other shit. Just the weapon itself. Why is that impressive? Versus you shooting 6 times and probably hitting 4 to 6 times, and you get all the extra damage again, I can't see the reasoning behind it. Maybe I'm missing something. That's why I say if someone knows better, feel free to explain it. But I'm just going to keep with the traditional build. So that's the 7, the 12, and the 1. And just to show you the feat, so you know which one we're talking about, go under Greater. That guy right here. Literally, roll the weapons damage dice for the attack 4 times, then add the results together before adding bonuses from strength, weapon abilities like flaming, precision damage, that's your sneak attack damage, other damage bonuses from the magic weapon, your deadly aim, blah 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 blah. On a crit, of course, the damage gets multiplied even more, which is awesome, but again, the point's still the same. I can't see only swinging once. I don't understand why this is even a thing in the game. If you have the chance to hit 4 times, why not hit 4 times with full extra damage? I don't know. But again, maybe I'm missing something. The only way it makes sense to me, I suppose, would be if you are using things like Hurricane Bow, a spell you do not have access to, which increases the damage your bow does, and of course doing something like Enlarged Person, which puts your bow in a higher weapon damage category. Those 2 things would put your bow attacks up from a 1d6 or 1d8 up to like a 3d6 worth of damage. And again, multiply that by 4. That's 12d6 of damage once in a round, plus all your strength and other stuff added to it. But sure, still not that amazing, because again, it could be that you roll badly and you go and get like a 12, or you could roll awesome and get a 70. But again, it's only one swing. By the time this build is over, you'll be doing nearly 100 points of damage a round if all your attacks hit, and I'll show you that. Now that we're done with all this stuff, you're going to go back to your typical arrow stuff. So deadly aim works for me. I'm going to grab Fire Snake, because why not protect your team? Acidic Splash, or excuse me, Acidic Spray. No, because again, you're not running solo. You don't need things like your Elemental Body 1, 2, or 3. You can still pick it up, I'm just saying it's not as necessary. We're going to push those guys some more. Now, you have choices like making your bow crit better. Nothing wrong with that. Hammer the Gap, I don't know. Okay, when it does that. Hammer the Gap, I don't know that it works on a bow, because it's got the little weapon that looks like a melee weapon to me. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But the point is, it looks weird. If this works for a bow, great. Clustered Shots, on the other hand, should work beautifully. This one is definitely worth picking. But we're still missing our Arcane Strike, and you know how I am with the extra damage. I mean, it's only 4, but it's 4. By the time you get to level 20, you'll get extra 4 points of damage per arrow. That's a nice little oomph. Just make sure that toggle stays on. From here, Ghost Blade, normally I'd pick it up. I'm going to actually pass on it this time. And the reason I'm passing on it is because it doesn't work. The Brilliant Energy buff doesn't work on your bow. Ghost Touch presumably does. It allows you to buff it. But for whatever reason, Brilliant Energy will not buff a ranged weapon. I'm assuming there's a reason for that. I don't know what that reason could possibly be, but they give you both of them. You could obviously buff a melee weapon with Brilliant Energy, so I suppose it would still have a use. But if that's not going to be used on your bow, and again, the bow's all you have in your hand, I'm going to do Prescient Attack. And again, it's really nice then to be able to take away those dodge abilities for those bastards with your bow. So that's really sweet. Magus. Here we go. Now again, doesn't much matter here. Know that Hellfire Ray is not going to be cast at level 19, and therefore you will not get all 3 beams. If that's a thing to you, then Disintegrate's still here and is awesome, and so is Umbral Strike, which I'll grab Umbral Strike, and I'll grab Transformation because I know me, I want it. Now we have our Fighter training officially, so we're half our Eldritch Archer levels are being counted as Fighter. So we're level 5 Fighter because of this. And then of course Eldritch Knight, we're level 7. So 5 plus 7, you're technically a level 12 Fighter. If there's a feat hidden behind the Fighter level 12, you can now pick it. And you better pick it now, because there ain't a whole lot of options left for you. So, this is your level 19 pick. Notice greater weapon focus is available, so you can shoot more likely with your bow, another +1. Greater weapon specialization. That's a fighter level 12 feat. That's another +2 to your damage. And again, we'll stack with things like weapon specialization, which is already giving you a +2. We'll stack with your arcane strike, which is going to give you a +4 to your weapon damage. So if I picked this one, for instance, we would be getting a +4 from it and weapon specialization, +4 from arcane strike. That's 8 damage per bow, per arrow shot. We'll be getting deadly aim, which by the time your build's done, you see you're +16 bad, which means you're probably taking a -4 penalty, which means you're doing another 8 damage from it. So 8 and 8, 16 damage just from those feats alone. Then you have rapid shot, which is giving you an extra attack, and then you have point blank shot, which is giving you an extra attack bonus as well as an extra damage point. So 16 goes up to 17, as long as it was within point blank range. Then you're doing mini shot, which means your first hit is probably going to hit twice. So again, you get extra an arrow that way. You're getting a lot of damage. Is this one necessary? No. Is it fun? Yeah, damn well better believe it's fun. I would do clustered shot, maybe greater weapon specialization, greater weapon focus, greater weapon specialization. Remember, you got 2 to pick from here. Up to you. Notice though we are missing blind fight. We are missing combat reflexes. I don't know that this works with a bow. So again, I didn't want to waste your time on it. Critical focus is always nice, so you can confirm those crits better. We never got dodge, so that would be useful. Extra arcane pool to get more spells per day if you wanted to. Remember, you do have improved spell recall, so that's a thing. But it's only 2 points. I mean, up to you though. Improved precise shot's not the worst thing ever. Matter of fact, for a bowman, being able to know anything except for total concealment and cover, that's pretty nice. I mean, that's not even you re-roll. No, that means you hit them if you hit them, period. So that's maybe not the worst thing here. Let's grab that this time. And I'm going to grab... while clustered shot's nice for penetrating damage, notice that we're also could be able to get penetrating strike. And again, it has a melee weapon look to it, so maybe it only works for melee weapons. But it says your attack made with weapons selected with weapon focus. Ignore 5 points of damage reduction. To me, that's your bow. And if that works, and I can't test that right now, but if that works, that's pretty nice penetration for some damage. Clustered shots would be nice, sure. You could, again, convince me to get penetrating strike and clustering shots instead of improved precise shot. But again, there's so many different choices. It's really kind of up to you at the end here. But notice that these 3 are very good. This one might be good. This one can be good, but we can already do this to our weapon with just a magical ability anyway. So, meh. Up to you. From here, you know I'm going to grab Sirocco just because, and I'm going to grab True Seam because it's an amazing spell. But again, it doesn't matter. You're going to scribe everything, right? Just because I want to do some stuff, I'm going to go through with the last 2 spells and make sure that we have every race spell that you can use. So let's actually go. First, I'm going to grab Maximize Magic is good. Dimension Strike could be fun. Devoted Blade, I went lawful neutral like a dumbass. If you went lawful good, you'd have 2 ways to buff your weapon, potentially. This could be interesting, since you're not getting Bane Blade, but again, up to you. Acid Assault, you don't have enough intelligence to really make it worthwhile, in my opinion. But again, still up to you. I'd still be more inclined to get something like Maximized, or Dimension Strike, or even really Ghost Blade still. Dimension Strike just because. Again, I'm going to go through all of them, make sure we're not missing a beam of some kind. Nothing in there. Nothing in there. Nothing at level 3. Nothing at level 4 or 5, I know. So it really is coming from 6. So we're missing Hellfire Ray, Disintegrate. So I'm just going to grab them both. Even though, again, I think you're kind of wasting your time with Hellfire Ray. It still does 30 d6 damage because you're getting 2 beams. So it's not the worst thing ever. It's just, Umbral Strike is fun. So is Transformation. And you don't have to roll twice, I suppose. I guess you're shooting through your bow, so it doesn't much matter. Know that you're going to have to put stuff in your spell books, plural. You only get 3 here. Now, if you have a way to push your intelligence another 5 points higher, which you can, as far as a +5 bonus, higher, which you can, you will get another level 1 spell. So this will actually go from 3 to 4. And I would actually, like I said, True Strike every day, all day. Up to you, though. Magus, I would honestly do either this so that I have fight 1. If it wears off, I have fight 2. So I don't have to always take a knee. That's my typical, but you don't have to. You can do this. That's still going to last you plenty of time to clear most maps before you take a knee. I'm not going to do reduced person or technically enlarged person. I'm definitely going to take at least one of each of the ray spells, probably a magic missile, maybe even like a grease spell or a burning hands or whatever. But up to you. I will take enlarged person just to demonstrate how your bow goes up in damage category, but I would not recommend normally doing this because it's easier for you to be hit. It's penalizing your armor 2 ways. Dexterity, which is not that big of a deal for you because you're wearing medium armor, but also because of your size. And that is a penalty. And the fact that it penalizes your dexterity means it's penalizing your swing, which again, not a big fan of. It does increase your strength, which means that you are doing more damage with your hits. So maybe that's more important to you. So again, yin yang, up to you. Level 2 stuff though, I think you'd be remiss if you didn't take at least 2 scorching rays and 1 acid arrow. Definitely grab one of each of your buffs and whichever AoE control you like. Remember, you're going to have a bigger spell book than this. I don't mind getting a couple fireball, maybe a lightning bolt, a haste, a slow, and a displacement. I like to mention door twice, like I said. Dragon's Breath is always fun. Here's some stone skin. And I would honestly do greater invisibility twice. Doesn't last you very long, and remember, you get sneak attack damage. Because you're invisible, and this one doesn't wear off when you attack. So again, cast it on yourself in the middle of a fight, or beginning of a fight. Sneak attack, sneak attack, sneak attack on anyone. Not just the guys that have been flat-footed by your teammates. They're flat-footed to you because you're invisible. That's awesome. Then it wears off. If there's more guys still to kill or another fight comes along, cast it again. Level 5. Nothing really here to stop you from grabbing one of everything, really. Definitely want to grab yourself at least 1 ray spell of some kind. Definitely get transformation, and quite frankly, I get true seeing. But remember, if you have a boost to your intelligence with like a tiara of +8 intelligence, as well as that potion that gives another +2 to your intelligence and all your stats, you can actually push your intelligence bonus another +5. Right now it's at +5. What does that mean? Well, here, let's finish this off and I'll show you. So if you go to your character sheet, here's your book. Let's show us our spells per day. Where is that at? Not showing? Oh, boo. Well, it's only when you level up. Oh, that sucks. Point, though, is basically, if we go here, for your spells per day, the way your intelligence, in your case, intelligence is your modifier for your spell casting. So the way your intelligence works is this. If you have a +1 to intelligence, you get an extra spell for level 1 when casting per day. Okay? If it's a +2, which means your intelligence is 14, you get a +1 spell for level 1 and a +1 for level 2. This repeats itself until you get to a +4 to your intelligence, which is what you had at an 18, right? So you get an extra spell for 1, extra spell for level 2, an extra spell per day at level 3, and an extra spell at level 4. Then it resets itself. So when you get to a +5, which is where you're at right now, because you have an intelligence of 20, you get another one at +1. That's why I said it was important to get to 20. So you have 2 here, another one here, another one here, another one here. That's it. You also get another one here. Why? Because even though it resets, it continues to go on for another 5, 6, 7, 8 level. And then it resets again, and then again, it levels up to level 1, and then you're level 9, which you don't have access to 7, 8, or 9, so obviously we can ignore those. But the point's still the same. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is all applicable. So again, if we pushed you up to another 5 points to a +10 for your intelligence modifier, right? It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 3, 3, 2, and 2 free spells a day. Also for your 5 and 6, it would be this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you literally would be able to get these ones a +1 each. I don't think you'll have enough to get back to another 5. So again, just 1, 1, but then 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1 spells extra per day. That's for, of course, your Magus build. For your Alchemist build, you still get the 3 here. Right now, you're getting 2. It should be 1. So we're really getting an extra slot twice. Pow, pow. That's because you have an intelligence of 12, and now because you have an intelligence of 20. You get it all the way up to a 30 for intelligence. Well, actually, probably before that even. But point is, when you get your intelligence higher, this will actually go up to 4 per day. And again, I would do True Strike every time. Remember that True Strike only works on the first attack. Not all one round. It's not like arcane accuracy. It's the first attack in a round. And you only have one round to cast it. Or to attack, excuse me. Not cast it. You cast the spell and then you have one round to officially attack. So don't buff up before you see the bad guy. You will waste it. Very silly. You're never going to charge because you have no melee weapon, which is just fine. You could fight defensively, but I wouldn't. But I'll put it down there just because. You are going to, of course, have your spell strike and spell combat stuff down here. I would even put down, of course, your arcane pool points. Don't forget your Prescient attack. Don't forget to have your dimensional strike. We'll put the mutagen, excuse me, over here, so I don't forget them. Dazzling display you're never going to do. Remember, this is this move here where you basically do the big fart cloud. Yeah. You're not going to be the guy that does that. Someone else on your team can do it. Point is you might use that early on if you're behind the rank, and it has a decent AoE effect, but you really don't want to use that. I'd say just attack. Screw that. Notice, of course, we have our arcane accuracy, so I'm going to put that down here as well. Don't forget to have your... Where's it at? Rapid shot, and deadly aim, and arcane strike, and that one likes to shut itself off, as you know. Don't forget to put your enduring blade over here, and we have enough room for 3 other things. So let's put the speed buff, let's put the keen bow, which basically makes it crit more often than not, right? Until you get one of those keen versions, or whatever the hell they call them for bows. And then fire, maybe. We don't have lots of choices, sadly, so that's kind of a shame there. From there, take off all this silliness. Also, don't forget to shut off your enduring blade. They always like to turn that on for you automatically. I'm going to take a knee, get all your spells recharged, and all your arcane pool points and whatnot back online. I put my mutagens from high to low. I do strength, dex, con. The way you see your ability score. I'm only doing this because I can't reach with my mouse. But basically, you got strength, dex, con, so I always remember where they are in order of your attributes, right? So, if you know you want dex, it's always the middle one. Okay. And remember, that's not only dex, but that's also armor for you, and I don't mean because your dex is going up, I mean because you get natural armor +2 when you activate the mutagen. So that's extra armor as well. So early levels, you'll have a nice little dex boost. You'll be wearing studded leather. We're already getting our +5. Yes, you start off at 18, so you're +4, so technically you won't be getting full benefit of your dexterity. Once you cast mutagen on yourself, dexterity version, you'll be exceeding the +5. You'll be at +6 early levels. And again, you won't be getting all of it if you're wearing studded leather. So wear leather armor or padded armor, or studded is fine. That way when the mutagen wears off and you don't have another casting of it, at least you have some good armor on. But the point is you'll have plenty of dex. Even when you do medium armor, which we're about to sell this stuff off and get medium, know that your medium armor is going to be really impeding your armor class because you're not getting the highest dexterity possible. So it's going to get a little weird. I'm going to suggest that we pick, based on name, we want to get a masterwork longbow, composite longbow, excuse me. Like so. We're going to sell all that junk, and we're going to get a, what's it called, breastplate. We can't afford, sadly, the +1 version, but this one's good enough. And again, you have options for breastplate, chain mail, scale mail, or hide, and that's medium armor at the upper levels of your build, of course. But notice this will be the best one most times for you for medium armor, because it gives you a decent max dexterity of 3 and at least a solid 6 armor class besides. So with your dexterity right now, even without you buffing it up, you're getting a 9 for your armor class. That's not bad. So we're at 19. It's like plate mail. Again, magic versions will be better. Some will be mithril. Those ones will be better. Again, keep an eye on the ones that show up. Always, when you have them, hover over them, compare to what you're actually getting. Know if you're going to get dexterity bonuses if you're using that chain shirt or chain mail or whatever. And if it suddenly puts your armor class here at the same level or higher, what did it do for your flat-footed? What did it do for your touch armor class? Because you'll be surprised that these numbers won't change, but this number will go up. Then that's still technically then better armor, right? So keep an eye for that. Test it out. But by and large, you are a fortitude, reflex, dodging some bitch. Not bad. You have decent spells. Let's look at those. I normally, as you know, do the raise spells and the touch, but you're never going to use that, so I'm not even going to bother. Put the light spell there. A couple of buffs over here just so you know you have them. And again, I would not normally do enlarge person. We're going to do it for reasons only. I'm going to put all the ray spells here. So you know that you're shooting them through your bow. You don't have many, but you can put quite a few on your list. From here, don't forget your true strikes that you got. Remember, it's nice that they actually pull these together on the same page so that you know that they're there from your Vivisectionist bit. But that's why these are nice, because it doesn't matter what level of Vivisectionist you are, those are always as good. Whether you're level 1, level 20, they always do the same effect. 1 round only duration, plus 22 the very first swing you get in that 1 round. So activate it, grab your bow, shoot someone in the face. Don't activate it and then activate another spell to shoot through your bow, because that will take another round. It will not work. You can activate it and shoot the spell, shut these guys off. That should still work. But if you want to shoot through your bow, you literally need to activate this. Don't do any raise spell at all. Use your bow. That's fine. And you will literally hit that target almost like every time. It's a plus 20 to the swing. It's amazing. And remember, because you have mini shot and you're using a long bow or a short bow, because you're doing that, the very first shot should land 2 arrow hits. Pop, pop. Remember, as long as the first one hits, the second one is guaranteed to hit. So mini shot is your bonus right now. Do this, shoot them twice basically with the very first swing. Don't forget, of course, that you want things like blur and your mirror image. We're even going to grab your displacement and haste. And of course, we're going to grab your greater invis. Gotta have greater invis. I'll even put your double teleport right there. And of course, we had like other weird things that normally you would not have on your character, but again, I was just grabbing spells. We can of course get true seeing in here, and of course transformation is amazing. And then just because we're kind of lackluster here, we might as well put out some of those AoE moves that you always love so much. I'll even grab your magic missile, which you know you want to have out here, just for funsies. But again, how you make your book is up to you each day. I even want to put one more in that last slot just because. Let's put Dragon's Breath. Why not? So, you're going to go in, make sure all your toggles are on. You got a normal day, fighting day, where you're going in to fight stuff. You're going to know you're going into an area to fight. You're going to pre-buff up. Get your dexterity up. Pause it. I want you to see this. Dexterity went up by 4. Notice that it went up by alchemical plus 4. That's not the same as enhancement. So Cat's Grace still works on you. So does transformation. So does having a belt of dexterity plus 4 or higher, or actually plus 2 or higher, whatever. Point is, they all stack. If it's under the same category, they don't. So a Cat's Grace spell doesn't work with transformation. A Cat's Grace spell doesn't work with a belt of dexterity. Whichever is the highest number is the one that you're going to get. But this one does stack with the others. So get yourself that belt of dexterity plus 8. And then you have an alchemical chug, another plus 4 to your dexterity. Your dexterity is going to be through the goddamn roof. Notice that we also get not only armor, breastplate 6. Dexterity bonus is only getting 3 because of what a breastplate limits you to. So that's a bummer. But again, so we're losing out on 4 armor that way. But we did at least get plus 2 to your natural armor thanks to the mutagen. And it doesn't matter which mutagen you drink. The strength, the con, the dex one, they all give a plus 2. So at the very least, you'll always have that plus 2 natural armor. And the beautiful part here is natural armor does stack with itself. So there's a spell called Dragonkind 1, for instance, that gives you natural armor plus 4. It will stack with the mutagen. Just make sure to chug the mutagen, then transform into the dragon, because I don't know if you can use it after you transform. I know you can't use a lot of effects, so like spells and such, after you use the transformation spell. So again, I would use this first, then use the transformation spell if you wanted to be a fighter, quote unquote. But you're right now doing pretty damn good for your swing anyway. Look at, you're at an 18 for the very first arrow. And remember, that first arrow shoots twice. If it hits him twice because of mini shot. Then we got a 13, 8, and a 3. So you're swinging 4 times in a round, doing 5 arrows worth of damage if all of them hit. That's pretty badass. Then make it a flaming arrow, or a shock arrow, or a cold arrow, right? Frost arrow. You can do all that stuff right now already. Then throw in stuff like our arcane strike damage, the fact you got weapon specialization damage, the deadly aim damage, rapid shots giving us an extra shot here and around, so you'll see that here in a moment when we get into combat. I just need to actually equip my bow because I'm an idiot. And now you went up to 5 attacks around, 6 arrows worth of damage, right? Sorry, I forgot the fact that we were actually fighting barefisted. So now this is what it should be. That's literally 5 attacks around, 6 arrows worth of damage, and again, we can still buff up further with something like a haste spell or a speed bow. So again, you can turn this into 6 attacks around, 7 arrows worth of damage, and look at that plus 19. If all 7 hit, that's whatever the damage is. It could be a 1 every time, who cares? So if it's a 1 every time, you're doing 20 points of damage times 7 in a round. That's your worst case scenario, assuming everything hits, of course. Worst case scenario, you're doing 140 points of damage to a single target. That's pretty goddamn good. And then you throw in stuff like, oh, I want to hit, so I buff my bow with extra magical damage. Like so. I want to hit and do fire damage with every arrow. Activate that and click it. I want to make sure that that's extended for a decent amount of time, so do Enduring Blade, activate it. Now my bow's badass. Right? So there's all kinds of ways to be awesome with this build. Pre-buff yourself up with your mutagen. Then after that, if you think you need more armor, you got a shield spell. I would always have Expeditious Retreat at the ready, because again, positioning in battle is going to be important to you. But again, our first 2 spells are the ones I just mentioned. Now, I will do Blur normally. I would not do Mirror Image before you get close to enemies, because it wears off quick anyway, so does Blur. But again, I'd rather have this up and know that it's going to be up and get the full effect out of it. Same with things like Greater Invis and Haste and Displacement. These ones have real short durations. But I almost always wait for Mirror Image. I don't know why, I'm weird that way. But our armor's as good as it could possibly be right now with the buffs that you have available to you. And we're sitting at a nice solid 25, 22 flat-footed, and your touch armor class, this is why you can't solo. Your touch armor class is always going to stink. There's nothing you can do about that. Even with like maximum dexterity and wearing like robes of dodge, you're still going to have a crappy touch armor class for those guys that are really hard.
Dispatch those fools!
Watch some stuff here as we do some damage, okay? Kick out our bow. Boom. Sneak attack damage because you're awesome. He was flat-footed, so notice you did piercing damage and sneak damage on the first hit. Notice your second arrow. This is mini shot. Notice your second arrow doesn't get the sneak attack damage. It's okay. You're still sinking 2 arrows in the son of a bitch. And again, you're getting that 18 damage both times. So the plus 18, plus 18. You're just not getting the 2d6 both times. Again, that's fine. It's really, really nice, though, when you really start sinking those arrows. So already in the first round of combat, out of 1 out of 5 attacks, you've managed to do 52 points of damage. And you still got 4 more swings to go. Now remember our point-blank master? We can shoot at these guys all day long and we don't get attacks of opportunity to get you because we have point-blank master longbow. That's why we can do that. So you literally can be in the front ranks now.
There.
I still wouldn't do it, but the point is if they crowd you, don't panic. You're still fine. As long as you got point-blank master, and you always do it level 13 on up, then you have good protections already anyway. We had arcane strike pop off. Sorry about that. We could have done more damage. Point is you always have decent armor. You'll have good spells to protect you. You have plenty of opportunity to do some serious damage. The only thing that's really kind of penalizing me right now is showing this is the fact we don't have a teammate to run up front to take the distraction. If you had a teammate to take the distraction, this would feel a lot better than it really is. Notice a couple other things. I mentioned this to you earlier, and I want to prove it to you. So notice if I highlight over something like, well, first I have to shut these off. It doesn't work with these on. If I highlight over any of my spells, like my cantrips, these are the range of them. See that arrow? Or that halo, excuse me? So you see that's the range of those. That's about short range, close range, okay? So they literally are all reach out to basically right to here. Medium range, let's see if I can find you one that has medium. This is the long range. You notice you can't even see the damn halo. It's right there. It's freaking huge. That's your acid arrow. Also notice that's long range. That's a line, so that don't count. Come on. Those aren't attacks. I need your attacks. Sorry, I need to find this. That's a line. Magic missile. Here's medium range. Okay. Magic missile. This is medium. Again, this is normal. So look at how high you could go if you had reach added to it, right? So much farther, yes? Now, we didn't pick reach, but remember, you shoot through your bow. Your bow has a longer range than these short range pieces of shit. And I can prove it to you. What we do is we go stealthy.
Let's strike from the shadows.
Find you a bad guy.
I won't be halted.
Of course, as soon as I get into this room, there won't be a bad guy, right? Of course. You stink. Oh, no, there's one. Okay, so bad guy down here, right? Again, our range is lame.
Let's
Back to
strike
stealthy.
from the shadows.
Okay, here's our guy, right? We can't reach him. He's just out of range, yes? But watch this. We activate these, shoot through our bow now, and I'll be able to reach him. Why? Because the bow has a better range.
None shall escape.
That's how I can prove to you that the range of your ray spells now equals the range of your bow. So he was out of range. There's no way Snowball should have been able to hit him. You shouldn't have been able to cast without taking a couple steps forward and then casting. So that's how I can prove it to you. So again, you have a 50-foot range thanks to your bow having a 50-foot range.
Hear you cry.
Really nice. Because those other attacks that you have are like usually 30 feet. That's what close range is. That's your point-blank shot stuff. So that's helpful. The only one that would take a penalty that I can think of on your list, because all these guys are medium range or less. Medium range is equal to 30 or 50 feet, I want to say. 30 feet is your close range, and the only one that has bigger than 50 is acid arrow. So it will take a penalty. It will not shoot as far, but so what? It's still the acid arrow, and you're not going to use it that much anyway. So it'll still shoot through your bow, still crit through your bow, all that fun jazz.
We do it my way.
Again, Brilliant Energy doesn't buff up with your weapon. We didn't pick it. Something to note is if you really need to land that hit, remember, if you use this is a spell. This is not a spell-like effect like these guys. So these ones buff you, and then you can cast a spell, and then you can shoot through your bow. This one is a spell. You cast a spell and you attack. That's how it works. So don't think you're doing this and then buffing up with a nice scorching ray and then shooting through your bow and getting all kinds of guaranteed damage. No. But you can do it using either arcane accuracy or dimension strike or prescient attack, just depending on which one you want to buff up with, obviously. So let me find you a bad guy.
A waste of my time.
Yeah, I'll take it with that. I don't care. We'll go to the next bad guy and I'll show you how to do that. Again, just to prove to you that it does work as intended. I'm going to shed all this weight though, because I got heavy ass gear on me. And again, you don't have to go bow. You can go short bow. You can go sling staff, but you'd have to learn how to use a sling staff, which means you need the exotic weapon proficiency. You can use dart. You can and do all this channeling your ray spells through dart if you wanted to be that, but the range is crap. It's like 20 feet. But again, if you want to feel like a ninja that's throwing like fire into their face, hey man, I'm not telling you how to play your character. The bow made the most sense to me. But darts are there. You can do throwing axes. Javelins work, and I actually thought javelins kind of funny because you could literally like buff your javelins with, say like the shock weapon, and feel like you're casting bolts of lightning at them. I don't know, it just felt funny to me. But again, it's up to you. By and large, though, I say that really bows are your best, and the reason for that is many shot only works on bows. It doesn't even work on crossbows. So either a short bow or a long bow, whichever you prefer, would be the ones that you should probably specialize in.
Done. Let's strike from the shadows. Pay attention. I won't be halted.
Where are all the bad guys at?
Done.
here's our guy, right? Again, if we do this and shoot him, that's fine. The very first swing in that combat round will get the plus 20. Remember, that's the one that's going to get mini shot. So you should hit him with 2 arrows almost guaranteed.
Die!
Yep. Of course, I have to actually cast the spell like a dumbass. Right.
Out of my way!
Boom. And you look at your swing. 39. Why? Because 20 came from insight. That's freaking huge. Now, every attack after is going to be garbage. But also, note something else with True Strike. Additionally, you are not affected by mischance that applies to attackers trying to strike a concealed target. So literally, blind fight and all that fun stuff that I said was really cool. You really don't need it so much because, again, you already have the ability with True Strike to ignore that concealment bonus.
Dispatch those fools!
From here, though, if you want to do a beam and get a bonus to your swing, then these are your choices. Do you want to nerf their dexterity and dodge bonus, make them flat-footed, get some sneak attack damage on your own without a teammate? Do you want to have just a flat bonus based on your intelligence? In our case right now, a +5 to our swing, so it doesn't matter what their armor or their dex is. And if you don't know, this is your go-to. If you know they have heavy armor, then maybe you want Dimension Strike. Any of those can be used first, then you cast your spell, and that's perfectly valid. So let's do Prescient Attack. And then we're going to cast this one right in his face. How did that work? Here's our Prescient Attack, Scorching Ray right after. Our swing, he is flat-footed, and you know that bastard had some kind of dexterity because they're little teeny tiny people. So we made him flat-footed with our Prescient Attack. That's why it doesn't do shit for your plus 19. Did everything to do with screwing over their armor class and, of course, giving you the potential for some sneak attack damage. So here we got some sneak attack damage for the first arrow. Second arrow, no. The next arrow after that, the fire arrows after that, fire damage, fire damage, fire damage, and no. That it's the +1 thanks to the point blank shot for each of those, so 4d6 +1 for each of them, so potential of 25 damage per boom 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 if they were maximized. So that's really nice. So that's 75 damage from that potential just from those beams. These ones here could have hit for harder because once you did Prescient Attack, look what shut off.
Run them
Every time
through!
I forget about that. It's really annoying to have to constantly retoggle that damn thing. But again, ooh, nice sneak attack damage on that too, man. That's pretty. But again, you have really good surge potential for some arrows. Find yourself the best possible bow. There's plenty of good ones in Chapter 1.
Pay attention!
And you're definitely going to be the guy on the team that's going to be using the best bow. Yes, you get Ekin. Yes, he's great as a ranger.
Head on!
But there's going to be plenty of bows to go around. Give him a good one. You get the best one, in my opinion. You have, just to re-emphasize your skills.
Got it!
We ended with a solid 23 on Persuasion, which is not the best, but a decent number, especially considering your Charisma is a 10. You did great for Knowledge Arcana, you did great for Trickery, you did great for Perception, and your Use Magic Device is not so horrible that it would be worthless. You get to cast all the spells that a Vivisectionist could from a scroll or a wand.
Onward.
Same with anything the Eldritch Archer could cast if you don't have it in your book. But you'll, of course, scribe every spell into your book and enjoy a decent spell book compared to my Eldritch Scion, who has a very limited spell pick. Having said all that, though, be real careful, I'd say, early on. Even with your high dexterity and light armor on, you still want to buff up. So you still want your mutagen, you still want shield spell, you still want Expeditious Retreat. They don't last long, except for the mutagen, which will last you for the 10 minutes. And I'd eke every bit of that 10 minutes out before you literally decide to take a knee, because as long as there's something else on the map for you to fight, you should probably go looking for it. You know, that buff is really, really nice early on. That's really going to be helpful for making sure that you have high armor so that they're missing you and your team. Of course, don't forget to do speed weapons so you get an extra attack around. If that's not your cup of tea, remember that's a nice per minute or per caster level, per Eldritch Archer level. You have 12 levels of Eldritch Archer. So again, that's 12 minutes of buff if you use Enduring Blade on that. So you can have a speed weapon, an extra attack around, thanks to this and this activated once, and have it last for 12 minutes. So that's a really nice buff. Way better, in my opinion, than using Haste. Haste is great. Your team will love it. They all get an extra attack around too. You also get dodge. They all have it. They all get dodge. Your reflex goes up by 1, so your reflex saves are all better. So are theirs. Again, they'll love it. But it doesn't last long. So when you really activate haste, and it's only lasting you like, what, 18 rounds at max level, it's really not selling it. For you buffing yourself though, speed weapon, Enduring Blade is a really nice combo. Keen, unless you can find a keen bow, I don't even know if those exist, but I'm sure that they probably do. Something has a higher crit range of some kind. I should show you the larger size categories. Let's finish these guys off, and then we'll call it quits. Crit hit me, you son of a biscuit.
I am superior!
Damn right I am.
We do it my way.
It's not surprising that he crit hit me because my armor's so goddamn high. That's about the only way he could hit me. But look at your bow. Character sheet. Look at your bow for damage. 1d8, right? That's your composite bow. Masterwork composite bow. If you grow in size, you go to one size category better for that weapon. So 1d8 becomes 2d6, I believe. Yeah, 2d6. Now, what does that mean? So 1d8 for your average damage of a bow. Just the bow, not counting strength, not counting any of the other little fiddly bits you got. The 1d8, take the lowest number 1, the highest number 8, add them together. That's a 9. Divided by 2, 4.5 is the average damage with the bow, not counting all your other stuff, because none of that's changed technically yet. So 4.5 is the average damage per hit of your arrow. Now, you're up to 2d6. What is that? Lowest again is 2, highest is now 12. Add those together, that's 14 divided by 2, 7. So you went from a 4.5 to a 7 average damage per hit. So you went up by 2.5 points. That's a significant amount. But wait, you went even more than that. Why? Because your strength went up. Remember, it's a composite bow, so that +1 bonus over here, +2 to your strength, is a +1 over here. That's another +1 damage. So instead of it being 4.5 to 7, it's technically 4.5 to 8 for you. So you went up 3.5 extra points of damage per arrow by doing Enlarged Person. Is that amazing? No. Early on, it could be nice, though. So again, you can see why I say it's not the worst thing ever. Notice it penalizes your dexterity, which means it penalizes your swing. That sucks, but it increases your damage, which is good. So again, do you want to sacrifice one in favor of the other? That's on you to decide. Notice something else. While it does screw over your dexterity, remember in your breastplate, you weren't getting the full bonus of your dexterity anyway. So it went from a +7 as our bonus, remember, to a +6 now. We were only getting a +3 anyway. So it's really not impacting your armor class in that regard. What is impacting your armor class? The fact that you're bigger. So you see the size -1, so you still are easier to hit, but only by 1. Again, yes, this sucks, but again, maybe you want that extra damage, and that extra size category is really kind of the selling point here. I'm not saying you should do it. I'm saying it is an option. Another option, again, is you don't get lead blades for bows. The version of lead blade spell is called Hurricane Bow. Sadly, you don't get Hurricane Bow, which seems to be a missight on my part, but you couldn't get it anyway because you didn't have caster level 19. Caster level 19, to get all those free spells per day, or 6 spells that you could pick here, would have included things like Sense Vitals, Hurricane Bow. So then you can see how I really am not a big fan of the Vivisectionist. Yes, I understand why they did it. The mutagen is awesome, and the Vivisectionist for the sneak attack damage and the accomplished sneak attack feat is money. Everyone loves them, and there's nothing wrong with having another spell book. And those 3 true strikes, and those are going to be sweet, trust me. When you really need to hit them with just your bow, you're going to love those 3 extra spells. Don't get me wrong. But if you didn't think that that was all worth all that, I would suggest that you literally do 15 Eldritch Archer, 5 Eldritch Knight to get these free feats, and to get 5 levels of fighter, and to get 5 base attack bonus from here. That would still put you at a 16 for your base attack bonus by the end of the build. You would be caster level 19 by the end of the build, and you'd be able to get these feats here, the 6 free spells, and you'd be able to get the last Magus Arcana here, which is your Bane weapon for your bow. That's awesome. And you'd even be able to get a greater spell combat, and you would even be able to get a +4 weapon bonus, which right now we're limited to +3. So again, there's a lot of cool shit, and we could get heavy armor. There's a lot of cool shit you're missing out on by not going 15-5. That would be my recommendation. Now, having said that, you wouldn't be able to get that sneak attack damage until you got to level 20, so it's kind of late in the game. Same with your Hurricane Bow, late in the game. But I really think you're missing out on a lot of cool spells, which is kind of a drag. But up to you. 6 spells though, and remember, it opens up to the entire Wizard Spellbook 1 through 6. So all the stuff that you thought, hey, I thought I should have got Mage Armor, I thought I should have got, yeah, you don't get those because Badass don't get those unless they're given to them free. And here's your only way of getting free stuff. So it's up to you. But again, I understand why they went Vivisectionist. I understand why people go Vivisectionist. I've done it many a time myself. It's really nice to get that 1 level dip in there. Sometimes I'll even push 2, because while I don't particularly care about poison resistance, that medical discovery, there's a one in there that allows you to double the duration of any potion you drink. Literally, a potion that lasts normally 1 minute and that's all it lasts you can now last 2. That's basically saving me money on potions. If I have a potion that lasts me 10 minutes, now it's 20 minutes. If I have a potion that lasts me a half hour or an hour, now it's double that. Again, you can see the benefit of having something like that on your build. So, again, up to you. But I see why they did what they did. Definitely a decent build, solid arrow damage, really nice dexterity, and again, until you get some medium armor, you will still benefit from having that high dexterity from mutagen. So again, I can see the importance of it. I would not do reduced person, because just like this went for higher category weapon, 2d6 from the 1d8. If you shrink yourself down with a longbow, you do 1d6 instead of 1d8. Again, it's not game breaking. You went down from an average of, what was it, 4.5 to 3.5. It's 1 point of damage. Your swing's better because your dexterity is going up, so that's a reason for doing it. And again, your armor may go up. Again, it wouldn't benefit you now, but in the early levels when you're wearing like padded armor or leather armor, maybe. So again, I can see reduced person being useful. I don't like taking the penalty to my strength though, and I don't like being the lower class weapon. But again, up to you. I think this is a solid build, and that covers everything I wanted to say to you here. Again, my name is Brother Mutant. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, tell me what you guys think. I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.